All right, we're back live. Sorry if we got knocked out there by something, probably crappy internet service around here. So thanks, Verizon. Appreciate it. Scotty, you guys are tracking this near Lenore that was still running out on it, right?
I'm sorry, do
Or
what?
Daniel, either one of you want to take that? I said, did you guys want to recap the severe thunderstorm warning? Either one of you?
Yeah, I can do it. Severe thunderstorm warning was issued for southern Alexander County, southeastern Caldwell, Catawba County, and west central Iredell County until 8:45. Severe thunderstorm capable of producing quarter-size hail and damage and winds in excess of 60 miles per hour. The storm was located near Cedar Rock, North Carolina, or Cedar Rock in Caldwell County. It's moving southeast at 35 miles per hour. Granite Falls, Ellendale, Lake Hickory, Bethlehem, St. Stephen's, Hickory, Conover, Lookout Shoals Lake, and Claremont are all in the path of the storm. The storm is showing signs of rotation. If the rotation continues to strengthen, a tornado warning may be issued.
Yeah, and let's show you the rotation here. It actually becomes slightly more Scotty in the last frame, a few frames. All right, so this is the storm as it continues to track southeast, and it got out of what we call range folding. We're able to see it finally. Most of the rotation seems aloft in this storm. It's not right at the surface. It seems like mid-level rotation on it. But there is just a slight bit on the bottom, so I'd be interested to see if there's a wall cloud or any type of report coming out of anyone in Taylorsville. I would say probably Taylorsville. This is State Room 16, eventually State Room 127 as well. Probably the areas that would see any type of rotation moving over them. This right here is used. Interstate 64 and Interstate 127 is where the rotation is located at right now.
I'm kind of surprised that our chief meteorologist Chris White and I are talking back and forth. Kind of surprised that with the conditions, it's not been warned yet. So that's interesting.
I think it's really just because majority of the rotation is still mid-level. The updrafts don't seem incredibly intense on it, but I think it's getting there. That's the thing. Let's see if I can show you the rotation here on the 3D. So there's the rotation in the updraft through there. So I'm not sure if we were on earlier when we talked about this or not, so we'll recap it one more time. In the event a tornado warning is issued for those areas, where you're going to want to go is going to be the lowest, most interior room of your house. Those green areas you see on the house, those are great places to go because they're low and they have the most walls between you and the outside as possible. Usually this is a bathroom, closet, maybe a hallway in many homes. Bathrooms are great if they're in the most interior portion of the house because you can get in the bathtub and they have the pipes around them that help provide extra protection from those metal pipes, or with those metal pipes, I should say. Now, what you're also going to want to do is, and now maybe a very good time to do that, is grab your bicycle helmet and put it in the bathroom or wherever your safe place is. That way, if a tornado warning is issued, you have something to protect your head. Blankets, pillows, mattress can also act as that in the event of a tornado, because most injuries in tornadoes we've learned over the past few years have come from head trauma. So the more you can do to protect yourself from flying debris and anything hitting your head, the better. Now, there's a new severe thunderstorm warning out now for Haywood, Madison, and Swain, North Carolina. So let's bring that up on the map. That's the storm that you mentioned earlier, Daniel, that looked like it had some very strong winds off Tennessee moving into the North Carolina mountains now.
Yeah, that area, like you said, is getting ready to come into western North Carolina, and of course you're in Haywood, Madison County. Keep an eye on it, because I'd say winds at least 50 mile per hour as possible with that.
The tornado warning you see west of there, what the Weather Service is worried about is what we call little spin-up tornadoes along the line. They usually spin up pretty quickly. They're kind of hard to warn for, and they can just add some extra damage almost to the straight line winds that are moving through. And they noted in the warning that tornadoes may spin up along these outflow winds. They're being pushed out right along the leading edge of the tornado, or the squall line here. That'll be something we watch for as they continue to push into the North Carolina mountains as well. We have our question and answer session up as well, so if you have any questions, you can just drop us a note and we'll do our best to answer them for you. You can always drop Scotty and Daniel a message at their respective pages as well, or send me a tweet at WXRJM, and we'll try to do our best to answer any of those questions you send at us.
Yeah, definitely. For people in the western part of the state that want to get contact by us, me in particular, drop me a line on the McDowell Weather page on Facebook, or you can send me an email at marioncwx@gmail.com. That's my email address I use. If anybody's got any questions, we'll try to answer them tonight, and we'll try to get this information out as soon as we can. I'm currently working on getting our link back onto all of our pages. I've got it on most of them, so I'm sure we'll have an increase in viewership. I'll also remind her, maybe this would apply for everybody, if you do send us a question, of course, if your name, tell us generally where you're located. That will also help us in answering your question.
Mm-hmm. And now this update from Sports Center. We had a train weather spotter in Madison County reporting a tree down the 500 block of Gunderton Road, blocking both lanes. That's coming from the Carolina Mountain Area Skywarn Network.
Yeah, those sails that are crossing over the mountains right now are really holding on pretty tight. Even if you're looking at what's going on just east of the Blue Ridge, where I am in McDowell County and Burke County, it seems like rain has filled in behind that initial strong sail that's currently working through Caldwell and Alexander. Some rain that's kind of filled in that area, but that Madison-Haywood County area, when you get storms that come in from the west like that, that's usually a hot spot for high winds. And usually it's that first range of mountains right there that are that tend to break it up. You know, normally you'll have severe weather in that area, then it kind of dies out in Asheville a little bit, and then it tries to flare up, you know, east of Asheville. It'll be interesting to see what happens with those storms over the next half hour to hour.
So the strongest storm right now is certainly still south of Taylorsville, north of Bethlehem. Small hail and damaging winds, and also showing some weak. This is the reflectivity view, or the typical rain view. The red areas in here where you're probably going to see a little bit of your hail core. And this is what we call velocity images, or the winds in the storm. Notice the red here, and notice the green on the northern portion of the storm. That's the winds rotating a little bit inside the cell. Most of this is at the mid-level, so we tilt the radar up. You see there, but there is some low-level rotation with this as well. So I would say if you lived anywhere east of Bethlehem, you may want to go ahead and know where you would go in the event of a tornado or rotating tornadic winds moving through your area. And guys, I have to wonder as it continues to move southeast, areas near Morrisville, Troutman, Statesville, eventually maybe towards Kannapolis, of whether they'll see, the storm hit them later with even more strength. Into the top or the page. It's hard to tell what that is, guys. This was sent in from Lenore. Maybe a small area of a wall cloud, or we have seen a pretty big uptick in lightning with this storm now near Alexander and Catawba counties, which is indicative of maybe a strengthening storm or updrafts as the ice particles in the storm colliding together and producing the lightning in it as it gets tilted up.
And guys, something that we can talk about with this is we're passing sunset here in just a little bit. With more of these storms coming in that get tornado warned, they're not going to be as visible as they would have been here the past hour or so. So that's something also that you won't be able to see coming towards you now that we're nearing nightfall, and that's what scares us to death is those nightfall tornadoes.
That's a very, very good point. A lot of people like to try to go outside and see if they can see the tornado, and there's really no point in doing that when it's dark outside.
Tell you, we got a sail. I'm going to cut these warnings off right quick. Talking about tornado warning, we got a sail west of Knoxville, Tennessee that's looking pretty stout. See if I can pull it up here. It's dropping to the southeast and could potentially affect Maryville and Gatlinburg area, and then eventually in the Swain County, North Carolina. See if I can pull it up here real quick. And talking about it being nighttime now, I think normally in the summer when it's nighttime, we tend to think about instability levels going down. But I can hear thunder rumbling pretty loud here at my house right now, and there's not a lot of activity on the radar that would make you suggest that a severe thunderstorm was on us in McDowell County right now. But I think it's just an indication the atmosphere is pretty unstable. We've mentioned it a lot today. There's a lot of wind dynamics. We got this huge trough that's coming down in the eastern part of the country. And one thing that, we want to kind of get the word out, don't take it for granted that just in the summertime, usually after dark, things die down. This is going to go a good part of the night, we believe, and just the indication that I'm getting thunder here at my house, and it's not really even raining right now. it's raining just to my north. There's a lot of instability in the atmosphere, and it's still got that real muggy feel that I mentioned earlier. It's just a real soupy atmosphere. It's dynamic, and things could pop pretty quick. Here's that cell west of Knoxville around Farragut. It's dropping southeast. There's currently a tornado warning with it. Trying to see what counties that is. Sevier, Knox, and Blount. That's the only tornado warning I think that's right now, if I'm not mistaken. That's the only tornado warning around here, but keep an eye on that if you're here in the Smokies, Swain County. It might be of interest to any people we have around Cherokee or Bryson City in the next hour.
I don't know if you guys saw this or not. I was over at the other computer, but this was sent in to us from Lenoir in Caldwell County by Emily and Steven Zimmerman about 30 minutes ago as that storm was moving through the Caldwell County area. That's what it looks like. So that could be a possible lowering of the clouds there, maybe even a little bit of a funnel.
The Weather Service is going to go ahead and continue this severe thunderstorm warning.
Back to what I just mentioned.
Go ahead, Daniel.
Okay, I'm sorry, Ricky. Kind of the add-on to what I just mentioned a minute ago about how things are not going to just die down here in the next hour or two. We showed this radar earlier before we got knocked off. Look at all this activity still developing across Cincinnati, greater Cincinnati area over, eastern part of Kentucky. I mean, these things just keep popping up. And pulling the watch outlines on here, we've got the current watch for our area until 1 a.m. Then the one that was issued a minute ago that includes the far southwestern counties, Clay and Cherokee and North Carolina, and I believe that also includes Tennessee on until 2 a.m. So, we're just getting started with this action here tonight. We're going to have to keep an eye on what's going on, and definitely got plenty on the table here to look at.
What I was just going to mention is the Weather Service has continued that severe thunderstorm warning. They've taken Catawba County out of it, but now they're leaving it in effect for Alexander, Iredell. Catawba County is still in it. Southeastern Catawba County was what was removed. Central Iredell, Catawba, and southern Lincoln, Alexander County, is where the warning remains in effect till 8:45. Claremont, Conover, Lookout, Shoals, Lake, all those areas under the gun for the potential severe thunderstorm moving in the area. And they still note that it shows some signs of rotation and note that severe thunderstorms can produce tornadoes with little or no advance warning.
Another thing, looking at our partner John Wendell at NBC Charlotte, 324 lightning strikes with that storm cell in northern Catawba County and southern Alexander County right now. A lot of lightning being produced out of that storm.
I've gone ahead and I put the storm motion vector onto here, and so GRANOS will factor it in. And this is what we call storm relative velocity, or the velocity of the winds relative to where the storm is moving. You can see the rotation is a little more intense on storm relative than it is on base velocity on that storm. So decent little signature there. The rotation kind of weakens as you go up in the atmosphere, but it may just be because the radar is scanning it at such a high level to where it's almost, let's actually put it on here, you can see it's kind of overshooting the storm. It's just hitting the very top of it once it gets up to some of those higher levels. So that's interesting, guys.
As that storm slides into Iredell County in the next half hour, we may actually be able to get a better look off the Charlotte terminal radar than we will the Greer. radar because, like you said, we're just so far away from the radar site.
I want to switch to GR Earth right now. My screen coming up, guys?
It's still not showing up on here, Ricky.
Okay. There is a huge tornado warning over in Tennessee. It includes 3 counties, but it is such a long warning for some of those areas over there. And let's welcome all of our new viewers, almost up to 60 viewers now on this. Remind you, if you have any questions, you can always drop us a note in the question and answer segment or send us a Facebook message on any of the local Caldwell, McDowell, Burke weather pages, or shoot me a Twitter message at WXRJM, and we'll do our best to answer those questions. The Weather Service is not issuing a tornado warning on that cell for this reason. According to NWS Chat and one of the forecasters over there, the storm has a nice mid-level cyclone, so when you're going up on the radar, the upper level tilts of the storm. However, using the terminal Doppler, as Daniel just noted, there's no significant rotation in the lower slices. The terminal Doppler shows us hitting the storm at a lower level than the one out of Greer, South Carolina, because of just how far away it is, and it's able to get a better view on it. And so they're not issuing a tornado warning on it yet because they don't see any significant low-level rotation.
You know, I was looking at the terminal a minute ago. Let me pull up again. There's a little bit of interference. That's kind of on the, where it's located now, it's right on the very northern part of the terminal radar. And let me pull this up on screen share. It's really weird looking. It's like a slice of the radar image was taken out.
Yeah, that's the water tower that's blocking it there.
Yeah,
there's a water tower right near the radar site that blocks any view to our northwest.
I mean, 20 minutes from now, that storm is probably going to be out of the view of that where it's being blocked. I mean, maybe that's what they're waiting on if they want to issue something, but that's it's pretty interesting. That's the first time I'd noticed that it was just taking a slice out of it.
Yeah, so if anyone wants to go knock down a water tower accidentally, we will be very glad. Make it look like an accident.
Yeah, please.
And Daniel, we have our good friend William Keller, one of the emergency managers for McDowell County, watching our program tonight. So let's kind of recap of what's taking place right now and what's going to be taking place in the next couple of hours.
Well, William, it's good to have you on tonight. Kind of what we've had going on here this evening, we've had a line of thunderstorms that's come out of Kentucky and Tennessee. If you've probably heard of the listener stuff, they had some confirmed tornadoes in the Johnson City area. That crossed over the mountains. It did respond on that, or it did allow that warning to be issued for Avery. It kind of died out, but as we've been talking here the last few minutes, that's re-fired up. Alexander County, it's moving into Iredell County. Farther west, in particular for of interest to McDowell County, you got what's going on back in Tennessee that we really need to keep an eye on. I'm going to pull the screen share up right quick. And thunderstorms are coming out of Tennessee, and they're coming into Haywood, Madison County, North Carolina. I can pull this up right quick.
Hey Daniel, while you're pulling that up right quick, another what you were just talking about in Madison County, more trees being reported down on Guntertown Road. It seems like both lanes of that road have been blocked from trees falling down. So that's the storm I think you're getting ready to talk about. I want to go check out the pictures.
You know, we mentioned earlier about how the French Broad River Valley right there, how it kind of helps keep storms from dying out. that might be a case of what's happening. A lot of times when you get the storms that come out of East Tennessee, they come southeast, and while they don't look overly oppressive on radar, if you look at the velocity scans, they're pretty impressive right now, throwing out some wind. Looking at base velocity here, I'm going to zoom in. Here's northern Haywood County. Here's Marshall, Madison County, Hot Springs. Here's Weaverville, North Buncombe County. That's some fairly strong winds right there. Between 50 and 55 mile per hour, a little bit higher in some of these brighter colors. And again, looking at the radar, this is at about 3,100 feet up on the tilt. So that's not really all that far up in the air. So I'm betting some of that is making its way down, and just the confirmation is what Scotty's giving us on the tree damage. What we're going to have to watch is that's going to translate southeast over the next hour. Now, like I mentioned a minute ago, these storms traditionally the wind energy likes to be really strong in Haywood, Madison County. Then when you get down toward Asheville, they tend to kind of die out a little bit just because of a little bit of a downslope effect. But we need to watch this, watch it translate east, and see if it affects Buncombe County. And here on the very eastern part of the map I got here, we got McDowell County. We're probably talking an hour and a half to 2 hours, maybe not even 2 hours. I don't know, hour and a half probably. Need to keep an eye on that and see what's going on. Again, it doesn't look overly oppressive on the radar. Again, this is the Knoxville radar. Let me Greer right quick and see if it looks a little bit better, and it may look better on the Greer radar since it's getting closer. But we need to watch that in western North Carolina, and eventually that could affect the foothills areas like McDowell County. Again, here's our Greer radar. Let's pull up again. Let's see here.
And guys, let me jump in here for just 1 second, because we did get a viewer question from Donnie who asked, under this type of weather, what should people in mobile homes do, and do you give any warning for them to get out, or should they just go down? Is there any place in Conover for residents to go during severe weather?
Hey, Daniel, the severe thunderstorm warning just issued for Buncombe County now. That's a new warning just now coming in. Severe thunderstorm for Buncombe County.
Yeah, I've got this up on the screen shared now. It's showing up pretty good on the Greer radar. That's gradually forming and moving to the east. I'd say western McDowell County might want to watch out in the next hour, but like you said, Buncombe, the warning was just issued. It might clip the western part of McDowell. It's going to be close. Let's see if that tries to build any east. I mean, it's moving southeast at 40. That's going at a pretty good clip, so it's going to roll through there pretty fast. Interesting, it says showing signs of rotation. We'll definitely watch that as well. But, yep, these storms that were in the Greene County area and over around Sevierville and Knoxville, they're starting to affect western North Carolina now. We need to keep an eye on that.
Going back to our question real quick, where's the best place to go in the event of severe weather approaching a mobile home? A lot of times with the severe thunderstorm winds, the lower end severe thunderstorms won't do a whole lot of damage. It usually takes winds about 60 miles per hour or higher to cause that type of damage to a mobile home. But in the event of a very significant thunderstorm area or tornado warning, you're going to want to get out of the mobile home and try to find a more substantial building made out of brick or concrete near you. Or worst case scenario, I know some people argue this, but get into your vehicle, turn on the car, and that way the airbag would deploy if your car were to become flipped over or anything in the event of a tornado. If you don't have any other shelter, you always would want to try to find another building first instead of taking shelter in your vehicle. But worst case scenario, I think I'd rather be almost in my vehicle than a mobile home.
Starting to get some lightning over Burke County now. As just getting a message in here via Facebook. One of the emergency workers that works in northern Burke County near Jonas Ridge, they've received some reports of some wind damage up in that area that may be linked to that tornado warning that went through earlier. We're going to try to confirm that and see if we can get any visual evidence of what they're talking about. But that is kind of a late breaking story out of the Avery County.
We had another question come in from Andrew Snyder asking what's going to happen up in the Charlotte area. Right now for the Charlotte area, everything's calm. We have that storm moving north of there towards Statesville, but in uptown Charlotte, no concerns right now for any type of storm moving in. However, we mentioned earlier that we do expect more storms to form in the mountains later tonight and then track east. So I would say much later tonight, probably after midnight, is when we're going to see a line of storms probably move through the Charlotte area, probably with some gusty winds, potential for some small hail and heavy downpours and lightning. The tornado risk will likely be a little bit lower with that, since the storms will likely congeal into a big line, but it won't be zero, so we'll have to watch for that as well as they move through. Nothing in the immediate future, maybe after around 11, 12 o'clock tonight is when we'll start being concerned for the Charlotte area.
Daniel, let me screenshot this because I know this is something you've been talking about here the past hour. So I'm going to zoom in on the Jackson, Kentucky radar, and well, I was going to. Here it is. As you can see, here's some. Sorry.
Yeah, there's some new development there, Scotty. Boy, Tennessee and Kentucky line's been hit several times already today, and it is really flaring up. So, if we have anybody from East Tennessee that's watching tonight, don't think this line is the end of your night either, because another round could very well be coming.
You can't get the phone to stop. But yeah, what you're talking about, a nice little line of thunderstorms developing. Unfortunately for some areas, that's already been affected by some tornadoes. There in the Tennessee and Kentucky line, and that's got its eyes set on the mountains in western part of North Carolina, it seems.
Yeah, it's looking that way right now, Scotty. I'm just quickly browsing through the radar here in western North Carolina, closer to us, and looks like it's flaring up even more over Buncombe County right now. So I have a feeling we're going to have another little, at least line segment or something stretching from Henderson County, Buncombe County, into McDowell, and eventually Polk and Rutherford. Let's see what happens there, because it is flaring up pretty quick.
Yeah, that radar picture up here in Kentucky, that kind of that kind of just it racks my nerves a little bit, because that's basically where these storms that just went through the area, that's where they come from, and it seems like that's how the storm tracks on those storms take it right back into the areas that it's already hit.
Yeah, it's looking kind of ominous up in that part of the world right now, and we're gonna have to keep an eye on it. And it's amazing how much that's really flared up in the last hour or two. I'm gonna pull up something here right quick. See if I get rid of all these polygons. Kind of pile themselves up sometimes. Gets a little polluted when you're looking at this on the screen. What I was mentioning just about a minute ago about how the stuff in the mountains are really starting to flare up again. You can see what's going on. Asheville's getting ready to get hit hard, and that's starting to build a little bit into northeastern Buncombe County, and it's moving southeast. So
I know this is technically not our area that we're talking about, but this is from emergency manager in Claiborne County, Tennessee. He reports 10 homes completely destroyed in Speedwell, the Speedwell community along Old Highway 63 in Claiborne County, Tennessee. So that is a parent tornado that came through that area.
what time did that happen? Did it say on the report?
At 6:05.
Okay, so that was this evening. That was probably some of that stuff that was going on maybe west of the Morristown radar site. I believe that's where Claiborne County is. Scotty, I'm going to step off for just a second and provide an update for our local folks here in McDowell on the Facebook page, and I'll be right back here in just a second.
Okay.
Scotty, it looks like that storm near Statesville is. It's not as isolated as it was before. The severe thunderstorm warning has been in effect for areas near Statesville and has now been dropped uh, as we approach the expiration time.
Guys, sorry, I've been talking to a couple of people offline here. It looks the National Weather Service, they just one of their employees just recorded a 70-mile-per-hour wind gust in downtown Asheville from that severe thunderstorm that's getting ready to push into McDowell County.
What do you say the wind was on that, Scotty?
70-mile-per-hour wind gust.
Wow, downtown?
Yes.
Well, I'd say that's very possible, especially if you get any kind of funneling effect. I've got the velocity up here right now, and I'll pull it up. Do you know how long ago that was recorded?
Let me look. At 8:36, so about 11 minutes ago.
Yeah, that's not bad. I've got this running right now. Let me get this polygon off here. Might be able to see this. This is velocity that's running through Buncombe County right now and extending into parts of McDowell County. According to this, it's showing close to 50 mile per hour, but you know that's pretty impressive given the forward movement and the base velocity. I could see that very well happening in Asheville. That storm has definitely flared up close to Black Mountain. I do know that.
Yeah, I'm gonna call William here in just a second. I'll be right back.
Okay. You know, while he's doing that right quick, I've got the Greer radar here, and you can see what's kind of almost like a linear, like a bow type signature. Storms from the Knoxville area extend to southeast in the Smokies and then into Haywood County, and then it's kind of bowed out from Asheville, bowing down to the southeast, and Buncombe County and the far western part of McDowell County is going to be affected by that pretty soon. Still thunderstorm warning out for Buncombe, Haywood, Jackson, Madison, and Swain until 9:30, so that's got a while to go, and actually that'll be out of the polygon pretty quick, so it wouldn't surprise me. Transylvania, Henderson, and of course there it is right on cue, southwestern McDowell, Rutherford, and all the way over to Transylvania. So that's extended southeastward, and I'll get that on the McDowell page right quick for folks, so I'm going to step out for a second. You know, if you look at what's going on across western North Carolina right now, we have the that line that's running through the mountains. I'm gonna pull it up right quick. Give me a second here. Well, if I can get it here. Okay, here we go. That line that was come out of East Tennessee earlier, as you can see, it's weakened a little bit, but it's actually held itself pretty good as it's crossed the Smokies and it's crossed the French Broad River Basin. We have severe thunderstorm warnings out for several counties in western North Carolina, extending all the way from McDowell, Rutherford, Polk, Henderson, Transylvania, and then up through the Asheville area and up into the border counties with Tennessee. That's a pretty quick moving line that's moving through, and it's gusting out some pretty good wind along and ahead of it. So, you know, it's just gusted through Asheville. Of course, that report that Scotty just shared a few minutes ago, wind gusts of close to 70 in downtown Asheville. That's pretty good. I'd say with this line, you're probably going to have at least something in the 50 range, maybe a little bit higher. I've not really looked at the hail core on this recently. It is showing up a little bit pretty good, 3/4 inch hail in eastern Buncombe County. But that, you know, that whole line's kind of moved across pretty good, and it's starting to bow out in this eastern extent through Asheville. It's going to be interesting because we've not really talked about upstate South Carolina tonight. We've mainly focused on North Carolina, Tennessee, and such. But I got to believe this is going to hold all the way down to probably the North Carolina-South Carolina line. What happens after it, I'm not sure, as it falls completely off the mountain and heads into the upstate. But you got to think about the upstate. They had temperatures that got up into the 90s today. It was a very hot and humid day for them as well. And they've had essentially no thunderstorm activity. So it'll be interesting in the next hour to see, does this die out? Does it just kind of hold together, or does it try to flare up some more once it gets down toward North Carolina, South Carolina line? Look at the base velocity with this line that's coming through. You can really see how it's bowing out. If you're in Biltmore Forest in southern Buncombe County, Black Mountain area, that's a pretty good gust of wind right in there. Got some right around 55 miles per hour, according to the Doppler, showing up. And that'll be moving pretty close to Asheville Airport, if not already. So Airport might get a wind gust in the next few minutes. I'm sure we'll get some information on that. But northern Henderson County, northwest Rutherford County, around the Lake Lure area, I'd be on the lookout. You're probably going to get a pretty good gust of wind, some heavy rain. You're definitely getting plenty of lightning out of these storms right now, and some heavy rain, I'd say between now and 9:15 or so. So that's one area, you know, under current severe thunderstorm warning we need to keep an eye on, is there down the French Broad River Basin and over toward the Lake Lure area. See what happens there.
Daniel, do you want me to take over so you can hop on McDowell, or how do you?
Yeah, that'll be good. If you want to grab this for a few minutes, since we're getting up to the top of the hour, it might be good to kind of do a general overview, and I'll update our local people.
Okay, that sounds good. Well, meanwhile, we're going to kind of back out from that and kind of give you a whole scope of what's going on right now. We're watching a complex of thunderstorms develop in eastern Tennessee. These storms have had a history of producing tornadoes as well as damaging wind and large hail. Right now, the main threats are for Rutherford, McDowell, Polk County, into Buncombe, Asheville, the metropolitan area there, Hendersonville, and then back into Waynesville, and then back across the line North Carolina-Tennessee line back into Gatlinburg, Sevierville, where a tornado warning is actually in effect for those areas. Right now, the storm that gathers my attention, I'm going to screenshot it here so you don't have to see my face. You can see what I'm talking about on radar, is right here. You can see, there we go. You can see right here the main concern right now is just outside of Black Mountain. We're seeing up to 0.75 inch diameter hail. That's about the size of nickels to quarter to nickel size hail. That will produce a lot of damage. If you look back over here, you'll see a local storm report, and that's basically multiple trees have been down in the Asheville, greater Asheville area, and a National Weather Service employee who's off duty today reported a 70-mile-per-hour wind gust in Asheville. So that's a problem there. That's going to do a lot of damage. And if you kind of look back over here towards Canton and Lake Junaluska, back into Maggie Valley, you're going to have some more severe storms in that area. There is one storm coming into Swain County that's been showing some rotation. We'll have to see what the National Weather Service in Greenville-Spartanburg does with that. And then, as you can see, it continues back on into eastern Tennessee towards Knoxville and Sevierville, over into Seymour and Pigeon Forge in those areas. So a line of storms training into the same area. And then I'm going to scroll up here and look at this radar. We're going to go with the, let me see if I can find it. Where's the Jackson radar? Goodness, there it is, in front of my face. We're going to kind of scroll back up into here, and we see another line of thunderstorms developing from Columbia, Kentucky, all the way through Corbin, Kentucky, and then back up into West Liberty, Kentucky. These are all storms that are showing signs of intensifying. They've got hail cores on them, as well as a lot of lightning and some damaging winds. And as you can see, these are what we call storm tracks. And if you kind of follow the storm tracks, it's going to take it right back into the western Carolinas, over Avery County and up into Mitchell and Yancey counties, then into Caldwell, Burke, McDowell. So it's going to be a long night of thunderstorms, especially in the western part of the area of North Carolina. Tornado watch is in effect until 1 a.m., and that goes from about Charlotte onto the North Carolina-Tennessee border. That is in effect until 1 a.m. That may be extended just kind of to see how these storms develop as they cross into the mountains. Numerous reports of damage in the Tri-Cities area of Tennessee, near Kingsport, Johnson City. A lot of trees down. One community, I think it's Speedwell community in Johnson City, Tennessee, where 10 homes were destroyed from a tornado. So these storms have a history of producing tornadoes. You can see these purple boxes are tornado warnings. The red boxes, severe thunderstorm warnings. And these little triangles with numbers, that's showing us how large the hail is inside that storm. That storm right now is producing 2-inch in diameter size hail. So these are funnel cloud and tornado reports. So just a very active night for East Tennessee, Southwest Virginia, Western and Central North Carolina. As we're going to kind of span back into the Greenville radar loop and kind of give you an update. This is what the storm looks like right now, coming out of Black Mountain. It's going to cross into the Crooked Creek community of McDowell County. Then go into Rutherford County near Lake Lure, and then into Rutherfordson and Forest City. We'll have to watch as that storm gets out of the higher terrain here. Have to see how that storm progresses as it gets into a much more suitable environment and juicier environment in the foothills and Piedmont of North Carolina. This could be the first real shot of storms that places like Shelby, Gaffney, Gastonia has seen, and then on into Charlotte. We'll pan up in here. This is Burke County and Caldwell County. Just some rain falling right now in those areas. So it's all quiet in that area. A few rumbles of thunder and some lightning here and there, but nothing like what's going on right now in McDowell County into Buncombe County, as well as the more southwestern mountains of North Carolina, back towards Cherokee and Clyde and Canton, Maggie Valley, places like that.
Yes, Scott, I was in a few minutes. I just typed that up for our local followers. Uh, that eastern extent in McDowell County seems to be picking up a little intensity. And I mentioned for you when you was on the phone earlier that upstate South Carolina has been unaffected by anything today, and the atmosphere is probably pretty prime. So if this can hold together over the next hour, and I got to believe it will, we're going to start introducing places like Greenville and Spartanburg and Landrum and places like that in South Carolina. We're going to start getting them in on the act here with possible severe weather.
Yeah, that's right. Right now we're just kind of in between storms right now. The major storm right now is over in McDowell and Buncombe County, where we've already had a report of 70-mile-per-hour winds. Several trees knocked down in the Buncombe County area as well.
You know, since we're here at the 9 o'clock hour, we've been on for about 3 hours now, and we definitely want to thank everyone that's been on here tonight. We kind of had a feeling this would be a significant severe weather event, especially for summertime standards. I mean, you can get thunderstorms a lot in the summer, but you know, this was kind of a special setup where we're having this huge trough that's moving down in the eastern part of the country, and we kind of figured that we'd get some tornado warnings like we have tonight, and now we're getting this line that's going through the North Carolina mountains that's getting pretty rough, actually, out my door here.
Yeah, the thunder's starting to rumble here in Valdez as well.
Yeah. So, you know, for everyone that's been on tonight, we appreciate you guys being on with us. We always enjoy the questions and comments that we get. And, you know, we're going to keep us going at least for a little while longer here tonight. Also, we're going to, you know, looking at what's down the road here for later tonight. Still watching activity back over areas of Kentucky and Tennessee that got affected earlier. I mean, if you look at the radar right now, it's really flaring up again. So, you know, we may even have some viewers in Tennessee that's watching tonight. Another round, believe it or not, may be coming through here later tonight, affecting some of the same areas that have been hit already. So stay here with us. We're going to be on at least for a little while and kind of keep track of what's going on here across the Carolinas and Southern Appalachian region.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, you're good, Rick.
Okay, I just wanted to comment on the storms moving through. My screen share has been really finicky tonight. But the HRRR model, which is a model that I really love in the short range time frame, it stands for High Resolution Rapid Refresh, has the storm complex currently over us continuing to track basically across the whole state of North Carolina and going off the Outer Banks around 3 a.m. But if anyone's watching from up in Virginia, some of my followers, we are monitoring the potential for some storms to form probably around midnight or a little bit after 11 and start to track eastward through the Hampton Roads area. These storms are kind of isolated, and it worries me just a little bit that we may have some stronger storms move through later tonight and into early tomorrow morning. So stay tuned if you're up in the Virginia area, then certainly stay tuned if you're in some of the western portions of North Carolina, as another line of storms looks to move through probably about the exact same time, around 1 a.m. to 2 a.m. is when I would expect the strongest storms to move through the mountains again, guys. Hey, Scotty, something to think about, too. You mentioned the heavy rain potential. Look how the storms back in Kentucky are forming and how they're kind of training southeast.
Yeah, those storms back over Kentucky are really starting to worry me. I mean, how they're getting in that organized line once again, not only for the heavy rain and stuff, but you know, even for the areas that's already been hit up there with a lot of damage, they're going to have to, looks like maybe go through round 2 of that.
Round 3, really, didn't you?
Round 3, yeah, that's true.
Morning, I should say.
That is true. I forgot about this morning. It seems like so long ago.
The NAM 4 looks like it did not do a very good job at initializing all this stuff. It missed the storms earlier. It's got a new complex forming across central Virginia as we go. Well, it already had it forming. I'm throwing that model out for tonight. The Storm Prediction Center thought that the NSSL WRF was doing the best job tonight. However, I don't think any of us have access to that because it's currently down for a computer upgrade to their system that disseminates it. I had a friend in Hendersonville report some very strong wind gusts in Henderson County, North Carolina. Law enforcement reporting tree and power line down near Apple Blossom Park Drive. Power reported out in the Fletcher and Arden areas.
I tell you, I'm looking at the velocity right now. That's about right for Henderson County. And if you're in Lake Lure right now, there's some gusty winds heading your way pretty quick, too. Probably in excess of 50. Looking at what's going on here on the radar, that's really gusting out into Henderson, excuse me, Western Rutherford, Polk County being on action here pretty soon, and it seems to be holding itself together. I'd say our friends in Rutherfordton, Mill Spring, Columbus, Tryon, if you got any, loose objects outside, I would try to get them in as quick as possible. You don't want anything flying around causing you damage. And especially Lake Lure, it is really flared up. Here I got the latest look on the radar, and a little notch right there around Lake Lure looks interesting too. Don't want to make too much out of that right now, but I'll be curious to see what that storm might look like a few minutes later as it gets farther off the mountain. It's kind of an interesting look, I think, on the radar. Nothing else, like we mentioned, wind threat for that area definitely up right now.
This came in from outside. We're actually getting a pretty good thunderstorm here in Valdez. Wind blowing about 15 to 20, gusting about 15 to 20. Some pretty sizable rain as well as some lightning streaking across the sky.
The Weather Service is continuing the severe thunderstorm warning for northwestern Rutherford, Polk, southern McDowell, Transylvania, Henderson, and southeastern Macomb counties until 9:45. Weather Service operator continued to indicate a storm with a history of producing damaging winds in excess of 60 miles per hour. These storms kind of gusting out a little bit ahead, and as you mentioned, Daniel, the storms are showing kind of an interesting signature near Lake Lure and a sign of rotation, according to the Weather Service.
Yeah, that's an area, western Rutherford and Polk County. Sometimes it likes to spin up in that area. It'd be kind of different coming from northwest to southeast. Normally, when you watch that area, it's kind of the opposite from southwest to northeast. But, yeah, that just kind of caught my eye a minute ago. It looked a little different on the radar than just your typical storm.
bring it up on mine as well and take a look at it. Oh, there it is. A little bit north of Lake Lure. I see, right there. Oh.
Yeah, that is where that's showing up. That's very mountainous terrain. You got the Hickory Nut Gorge right there. Anybody that's ever been to Chimney Rock State Park, that's fairly close to that area. Very mountainous area, but definitely it looks interesting on the radar. And I'd say right there's a lot of heavy rain coming through those mountains, Fairfield Mountains, and then the Lake Lure, and any streams or anything in that area. That's where the Broad River heads at. Might be a pretty quick rise in water levels over the next few minutes. Luckily, it is moving at a fair rate of speed, so that should prevent flooding from being a huge problem. But when you're putting down rain at that rate, it's pretty good. And just did a radar update, and the hail icon popped up, 1.25 inch size hail potentially just to the north of Lake Lure.
Hey guys, check out that storm near Knoxville, Tennessee, too. Probably the strongest storm we have out there. Still, 3-inch hail showing up.
Yeah, that is a really strong storm right there. And they're reporting numerous trees down in downtown Knoxville as that storm passed through. That's now moving into the Gatlinburg and Pigeon Forge area.
I was just there last week on a mountain when a thunderstorm came through. Didn't get any real big wind gusts. I was hoping we would, but nice area up there, I will say.
I don't know if y'all just heard that thunder in the background here.
Scotty had a moment of weather geek. Excuse me, everybody.
If it was only snowing, guys, I'd just top it off with it.
Thunder snow.
That's right.
Am I screen sharing at all now, potentially? Looks like it was doing slightly better.
I do not see it, Ricky.
All right. Just checking. It was showing up in the little icon thumbnail this time, so instead of like last time it didn't. My friend just captured a lightning bolt in Hendersonville on her video she was trying to send to me, so I certainly appreciate that.
I was talking to Chris Matthews, meteorologist at WCYB up in the Tri-Cities area, and he said as of right now, no injuries from those tornadoes that went through earlier. So I guess a little bit of good news coming from that.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Daniel, that cell still over Lake Lure is really impressive on Doppler radar right now.
Yes, it is. That looks really good. I wouldn't want to be on the lake right now. Of course, at 9:17 at night, you know, somebody might be, but that's a nasty looking sail right now, rolling through that area, and it's still got a pretty good hell core.
Hell core showing 1.92-inch in diameter hell.
Yeah. Tell you, if you look at the radar as a whole, I'm gonna kind of zoom out a little bit here, just looking at it. The that line that was bowing through is starting to break up a little bit, and that Lake Lure sail is kind of becoming dominant to itself. And then, of course, you got the other activity from, say, Waynesville back into the Smokies and up into East Tennessee.
Hey, Daniel, take a look at the storm near kind of northeast of Bryson City, northwest of Waynesville, near Maggie Valley. It's like it's pulsing up a little bit.
Yeah, that's a pretty good looking sail. This is this is exactly what we mentioned about the other night when we had Dan Bickford on the air on our show. When you look at Doppler radar from Greer, it can be very deceptive. Of course, on the traditional reflectivity, it's definitely kicked up. I'm going to look at velocity right quick, see if there's anything of interest. And again, these storms are so hard to predict in this area because it's hard to get velocity. But now this is interesting. If you go to storm relative, we'll screen share this right quick. Maybe you guys can see this. It's kind of interesting northwest of Maggie Valley. It entered in from Tennessee. Again, the mountains can be really a pain on this, but that's got a pretty good hail core with that storm. And there's, you know, is that some kind of weak couplet? Who knows? But that does look like a pretty good storm affecting Swain and Jackson and Haywood. You're between Lake Lure and Rutherford on 6474A. That's a pretty good area of strong winds that's showing up on the radar. It might be close to 60 mile per hour winds in that area, and kind of, or excuse me, 57 is the max on it. So that gusty sail coming out of Lake Lure is now working its way into western Rutherford County, and it'll probably go just west of Rutherfordton, but it'll drop down and continue in Rutherford County over the next few minutes.
Daniel, can you see my screenshot?
As of right now, no.
Alright, I'll give it a second to see if you can see it.
Okay, here you go.
This is the current view of the storm that is over Rutherford County and Polk County. And you can see, look at the lowering down here at the base of the cloud. I mean, the base is barely off the ground here. So that's something that we're going to have to watch as this storm progresses into Rutherfordton. That is, I don't like how low that base is to the ground.
Yeah, I mean, that looks impressive, and I'll tell you, that's quite a hill core showing up there, it looks like, too.
Yeah, right there you can see there's the hell core that I'm kind of moving with my mouse right there. It is something else. I don't know if Ricky's on or not, he can see this or not, but the base of the cloud is very worrisome to me right now.
Shoot me the picture in group chat. I can't see it live.
Okay. All right, I will.
Yeah, I can't tell if that's. I don't think when you look at the rotation. Well, I don't know. It's got a kink in it. I do expect a new severe thunderstorm warning a second before City and Rutherfordton.
Yeah, I'd say a new warning would be issued soon for southern half of Rutherford, probably southwest Cleveland, northern Spartanburg, probably northern Cherokee and South Carolina. Now, again, I mentioned earlier, upstate South Carolina, I got really hot down there today, got up in the 90s, and they've been pretty much unaffected all day by any thunderstorm activity. And the fact that this is pulsing up a little bit and it's looking kind of ominous, you know, any viewers we got in the upstate along I-85 might want to keep an eye on this over the next half hour.
You know, it's kind of doing the same thing the other storm did, pulse back up as it got east of the mountains.
Well, that answered a question there. Good morning now. Cleveland, Eastern Polk, Rutherford, Northern Cherokee, North Central Spartanburg until 10:30. Doppler radar indicated a severe thunderstorm capable of quarter-size hail and winds of excess of 60. It's located near Rutherford, moving southeast of 40. Spindale, Rutherford, Forest City, Bostic, Ellenboro, Cliffside, Bowling Springs, North Carolina. Even got Shelby even listed on there. That'd be pretty close. Again, they also noted, you know, some brief signs of rotation. Yeah, that storm, as far as in the Carolina region, that's definitely the main player right now.
surprised they put the warning so far south. Well, I guess it is moving more southeast.
Yeah, that'll clip. Pull it in here a little bit. That's going to end up going closer, just west of Forest City. Chesney, South Carolina would be a place I'd watch out. Gaffney, South Carolina, of course that's in Cherokee County, South Carolina. Gaffney area, I'd be on the lookout for that. And I tell you that the storm in relation to where it is close to the Doppler radar, that's about as good a look as you're going to get, and it not be interrupted. You know, sometimes you can kind of get too close to a storm or too close to a radar site if you got a storm develops, but that's at about a good enough distance that you can, you know, you can get a good read on that. And if it does try to rotate a little bit more later on, you know, I could see that going tornado warned pretty quick. Again, I don't think it's going to happen right now, but just something to keep an eye on.
And just to hit on something, we're going to have a new tornado watch issued for a lot of counties up in Virginia, including the University of Virginia and James Madison University. That's going to go until 3 a.m. tomorrow morning, with the storms currently in West Virginia tracking eastward.
Pull up the radar here, Rick, and I'll show that for any viewers we might have on here.
It's going to include a portion of Kentucky, West Virginia, and Virginia too. Stanton, Waynesboro, Front Royal, Beckley, all included in that.
You know, here at 9:30, look at what's going on. We got storms that are moving through Western North Carolina. Got this new activity we've been talking about over Kentucky, moving into Tennessee, and I ain't got the watch out lines on here yet. I would assume this stuff here in West Virginia, and then this stuff over southern Ohio, it'll kind of work its way across West Virginia, and like I said, into Virginia later tonight. Yeah, here's the new watch she's making reference to, I believe.
Yeah. Thank you.
Pretty much all West Virginia except for the very northern part, West Central Virginia.
All right, so just as a heads up, what we're going to do at 10 o'clock is we're going to reset everything, stop this hangout for just a few moments, and then start up a new one, because I actually am flying out to Oshkosh, Wisconsin tomorrow, and I'm going to probably need to take off before you guys do. I think you're going to have a long night, and unfortunately I'm up in Virginia, so I get to take a little bit of a break. So we'll have a new link very shortly after we take this one down. For you ready to go. Assuming you guys wanted to continue that, I should say.
I'm good with it. I can go a little bit longer. And of course, those storms for the mountains and what's going on in Tennessee are of interest and something that I'm sure Scotty will want to look at for a while. And again, I'll mention again, we've been going since 6 o'clock. We want to thank everybody that's watched tonight. Um,
Mm-hmm.
got a lot of viewers apparently, which is good. We got a lot of questions and comments from everybody, and we definitely appreciate that. And we do this for y'all, for our followers, cause this is a big deal, and it could be life threatening. Apparently, maybe I don't know if we directly helped anything, but from what Scotty said earlier, the reports of the tornado in northeast Tennessee, there's been no injuries. That's good. That's why we do this type of thing, to keep everybody prepared and to, if it saves a life, that's what it's all about. Or if it keeps a person from getting injured, that's what it's all about. And again, that's what we're here for. And Ricky, we definitely appreciate you for being on here tonight. I know the state of Virginia has been fairly spared at this time, but it could get a little bit interesting a little bit later tonight. But the activity here in North Carolina has been fairly active since about 6 o'clock.
Had a Skywarn report of half-inch hail in Jackson, North Carolina, near Bryson City. That was at 9:24.
Yeah, that's that storm that you was talking about a few minutes ago, close to Maggie Valley, that was flaring up pretty good.
Yeah, it's there's a new development now southeast of Forest City. Look how that line's kind of filled in. And then I also want to actually all three of these storms are pretty nice now too. They all have severe thunderstorm warnings on them.
Yeah, that is extending south a little bit into Polk County. Our friends in Columbus and Tron. And, could that be tapping into some of that instability because upstate's been pretty much spared today? That's possible. We'll have to watch those cells coming out of Waynesville because they'll drop down and eventually work our way into Transylvania County, and then, by 11 o'clock, maybe Greenville, Pickens County, South Carolina. And, that might have a little bit to do with why that's really flaring up right now around Forest City. It's tapping into some unused energy tonight.
Yeah. The Weather Service is noting that a storm near Waynesville is also showing some signs of rotation. The storm near Bryson City also showing some signs of rotation. And if I had to take a bet, Daniel, I'd probably say this storm near Forest City. Well, no, they didn't put it in there. Darn it! I was going to say also showing some signs of rotation. Darn you, Weather Service.
Well, it's again going back to the comment I had the other night. It's funny that I look at it too, and I'd say there's a little bit of rotation going on, but that sails over in the mountains too. You just sometimes you never know. If you look at them on radar, it looks like there's some rotation going on, but it seems like that's been a big theme tonight. We've had a lot of storms that aloft are set up just right. We just you kind of have to let things work out exactly right at the lowest level for you to pop off a tornado or a funnel cloud. And fortunately, since say 2 or 3 hours ago, we've been fairly quiet in that aspect, at least here in North Carolina.
stand by.
For those of you in city center Charlotte or up into portions of Mecklenburg County, you're going to see some light rain moving into your area over the next about 30 minutes or so. There was a little cell that popped up over South Mecklenburg and produced a heavy downpour near the Billy Graham Parkway area. That's weakened now. Some light rain showers near Matthews, but a larger complex of some light rain tracking southeast towards Mecklenburg County up into the Concord area, Harrisburg, eventually UNC Charlotte. You'll see some light rain. Nothing too significant right now. Heaviest off towards the southwest and far west of Mecklenburg, but just some light rain if you're out or you have any plans to go out later this evening.
Now, going back to the one storm we're looking at over Rutherford County right now, still pretty intense, but you can see on the velocity how it's quickly bowing to the southeast. Up here. As you can see, just at the regular reflectivity, you got all the heavy rain and lightning and stuff back here, but starting to bow out a little bit, out ahead of everything, wind-wise. So if you were in far northern Spartanburg County near Chesney, northwest Cherokee County in South Carolina, and the far southwest part of Cleveland County, North Carolina, that wind's going to maybe advance out ahead of the worst of that storm here in the next 15 to 20 minutes. So maybe where it might not be raining or anything, or lightning might be off in the distance, but you're going to get a pretty good gust of wind. So those there along North Carolina, South Carolina line, keep an eye on that. It's currently the worst of it is right there at the intersection of US 221 and US 74, just to south of Rutherfordton. It's moving southeast. You know, one thing I want to mention before we cut off here in a few minutes, take a brief break. Um, I know a lot of people in the Eastern Carolina are thinking what's all the havoc going on the night before, because it's all focused up here in the mountains and foothills. But this is all a part of a big trough that's coming down in the eastern U.S. and it's really going to change the weather for a lot of people. And right now we're kind of paying for paying the price to get to where we want to be come tomorrow and especially Tuesday. But these storms are going to continue to roll through the southern Appalachian region tonight. Even the storms that are currently over Lake Tennessee and Kentucky, they're going to slide down. Tomorrow, it might be the Eastern Carolinas' turn to get some severe weather as, the front will be coming through and we'll have outflow boundaries from tonight's thunderstorms and we'll have all kind of interaction going on. So, if you're in the eastern part of North and South Carolina, and you ain't had much that's went on today, other than with the exception of Eastern North Carolina, what happened this morning. You guys are going to get in on some of this potential tomorrow. I don't think there's going to be a tornado threat as much as what we had up here today. But, if you're down in the Midlands and the eastern part of the Carolinas tomorrow, this will be sliding through. And the exact timing on it I'm not exactly sure on it yet, but I'd say definitely during afternoon hours, keep an eye on things once you get down into the Piedmont and coastal plain of the Carolinas. Scotty, maybe you can add a little bit on that about what you think tomorrow might happen for our viewers down east.
Yeah, it looks like they're gonna be able to tap into the maximum potential with the sun popping out down there before these storms develop. So I think they'll have a little bit more dynamics. But like you were saying, I don't know if the tornado threat will be there, but I definitely think that some damaging winds and large hail will definitely be possible down in East Carolina, even down towards the Grand Strand of Myrtle Beach and places like that. I was actually noticing just on radar right now, we're starting to kind of, I don't want to say dry out per se, but the mountains anywhere from Mitchell County on up through Jefferson, Ashe County, has kind of dried out, waiting the next front or next band of storms to move through. But I'm telling you, if you live over Rutherford County, it's going gangbusters right now. Just a lot of lightning and just a really, really severe storm happening in that area.
Yeah, we were talking about that while you were on the phone just a second ago, and the wind's starting to gust out ahead of that a little bit too. So kind of put out the heads up here a minute ago. Those along North Carolina, South Carolina line, that wind's going to pick up here in the next few minutes, even out ahead of some of that really heavy rain and lightning and other activity that's going on.
Yeah, I think if you live in Shelby, down towards Gaffney, York, Clover, and maybe even South Charlotte, the southern part of Mecklenburg County, into Fort Mill and Rock Hill, you might see a pretty good thunderstorm move through that area in the next little bit. And then if you look back towards the North Carolina-Tennessee line, it looks like the majority of the storms are now lining up just to the west of Asheville over Weaversville and Crusoe, heading into Brevard, and that would go most likely into the upstate of Travelers Rest and then Greenville and then Spartanburg. And those line of storms back all the way back towards Pigeon Forge and Sevierville, and then kind of got a break until you go back up to the North Carolina, Tennessee, southwestern Virginia line, where we see more thunderstorms developing up in that area. And actually, I'm on the Morristown. I'm on the Morristown radar, and I'm going to screenshot what those storms are looking like right now. And they're quite heavy themselves. Normally when we see thunderstorms affect an area, that area is kind of destabilized. But if you can see, here's the next line of thunderstorms developing in southern Kentucky, northeast Tennessee, southwest Virginia, over Tazewell and Sneedville, over to Rose Hill and Ewing, Tennessee, up into Millsboro, and then Williamsburg, you can see another complex of thunderstorms that probably within the next couple of hours are going to be affecting places like Johnson City, and then over into Newland, Avery County, and back into the foothills of North Carolina. Is that what you're thinking, Daniel?
Yeah, I mean that line's holding together pretty strong for an area that has received a couple rounds already. It's pretty stout up there, and we'll have to see what happens with that. I think the good thing is we don't have the discrete cell look that we had earlier this evening, so it may be a little bit more clear cut that it's a linear aspect to these storms, and they should continue to slide through. And for those who got some activity earlier tonight, don't be surprised if you get woke up after midnight tonight.
Yeah, most definitely. One thing that's kind of surprised me is we've not really seen any hail reports out of these storms.
Yeah, not since the initial reports we were getting earlier. It's kind of died down a little bit.
So I'm heading to the air show in Wisconsin tomorrow, and I'm seeing a lot of pictures floating around. I'm looking at one now of a funnel cloud right over the air show. Apparently there was a water spout over the lake just east of the air show, and so there was a funnel that was visible from the site. Hopefully that happens tomorrow. That'd be kind of neat.
Oh yeah, that would be interesting. That would be interesting.
Okay, looking at the storm, what's going on in Rutherford County? It's almost turned into something pretty linear, and it's it's rolling in South Carolina right now, but like you mentioned earlier, Chesney, Gaffney, might clip Shelby, or just West Shelby, Bowling Springs in Cleveland County. We need to watch that for the next little while. That's it's already gusted out a little bit ahead of it, and people in Northern Spartanburg and Cherokee and Cleveland, North Carolina, those counties, keep an eye on that, and eventually probably Union and York in South Carolina.
Had a report of 1-inch hail in Haywood County near Waynesville around 9:49 tonight, reported by the public.
I'm telling you right now, the Cherokee area is really starting to see a pretty significant thunderstorm in that area.
Okay, Scotty, you showed this to me. Got me interest here.
Good news, Daniel. Remember that storm I mentioned earlier didn't have any signs of rotation? It's got signs of rotation now.
All over in on the North Carolina South Carolina line.
Yeah, near Forest City.
Yeah, I see that now. And Scotty, you talking about the storm at Cherokee? Let me pull this up right quick. This is a classic. This is a classic mountain sail that you're looking up at about 5,800 feet, but you got to couple it.
Oh yeah.
So, what do? At Rock Forest Silva and Western Carolina University.
The new severe thunderstorm warning for Haywood, Jackson, and Transylvania counties until 11 p.m. That Forest City cell is certainly the strongest.
Yeah, Daniel, that cell over Cherokee is showing 1.84 inch in diameter hail.
Very impressive.
Oh, you guys kind of want to wrap it up. We're approaching 10 o'clock.
Yeah, why don't we give a recap of just a wide scale picture and everything, and then wrap it up?
Sounds good. Daniel, you want to start us off?
Yeah, I'll kind of start us off with what's happened this evening. We had an area of severe thunderstorms that formed over Kentucky and Tennessee this afternoon, and they moved southeast. We had our first reports of large hail in the Tri-Cities area and our first tornado report of the day. Actually, I believe it was the first touchdown. I don't remember seeing any from the stuff earlier in the day, but we had our first touchdown of a tornado in the Johnson City area. I'm thinking it was before 6 p.m., and it moved southeast into the mountains of western North Carolina. We did have one tornado warning for Avery County at one point, and it continued to move southeast. It came off the mountain and reflared again over Caldwell and Alexander County. We had that, then we had another line that came out of northern Tennessee and southern Kentucky, and it affected the Smokies and the French Broad River Basin, that area in the mountains of North Carolina, and it bowed out, and we did have a wind gust of close to 70 at downtown Asheville this evening as that line come through. Several severe thunderstorm warnings were issued along that line, and that's kind of where we're at right now. That broke up a little bit, but there's still a couple clusters along that line, one moving into northern Spartanburg County, South Carolina, and we're watching some more activity over close to the Cherokee area in the mountains of North Carolina. That's kind of been the activity for western North Carolina, now hitting upstate. For the rest of North Carolina, it's been pretty quiet this evening. We kind of expected that, but there is some activity off to the north and west that could organize some more overnight and could affect more parts of North Carolina, and we'll put South Carolina on that as well. And also for the areas that were affected earlier, there's also cells forming that could hit those areas again, especially midnight and after.
And that pretty much wraps it up right there.
That's all that and a bow tie.
Our threat continues till about when, Daniel?
I'd say for western North Carolina, you're through the overnight hours. The tornado threat, I'd say, is lessened, just a gut feeling, just looking at how the storms are lining up, becoming linear. Wind threat, probably about the same. If those storms in Tennessee were to pulse up a little bit more and get a little bit more organized, you could have another wind threat for the mountains overnight, even after the storms are currently going through. Once you get east of the mountains, there's probably going to be more activity tomorrow. We'll have to watch the eastern Carolinas tomorrow afternoon, because they'll have plenty of sunshine, plenty of moisture in place, and the front will be coming through. So those areas that wasn't hit today, don't let your guard down. You've got a chance tomorrow for potential severe weather. I don't think the tornado threat will be as bad or as high as it was today, but you know, anybody, until that front passes through, be on guard, because it could go downhill pretty quick.
I agree, and I think I'll feel more comfortable once this next line of storms moves out of the Tennessee, Kentucky, southwestern Virginia line. I think western North Carolina will be a lot more apt to be able to have a good night's sleep once we get that line to move through here. I think it probably will move through here around maybe midnight to 2 a.m. and then after that, I think we might be able to sleep a little bit more better.
All right. Well, good luck to you guys, and hopefully you get a little bit of sleep tonight. But I'm still storm free up here, and I'm hoping that's how it stays, to be honest with you.
That's it, Ricky. We hope you enjoy yourself up in Oshkosh and have some fun up there, and we'll talk to you when you get back.
All right. See you guys.
See you later.